In this video, we are going to take a look at how Airbnb became a billion-dollar success story. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification button. We bring you success stories of these various companies and people so that you also learn to execute your business ideas and learn the tricks in trade. And we are bringing these stories for free, so all we ask for in return is for you to like the videos if you find them interesting. All set now? Alright, let's take a look at how crazy a business idea of two friends renting out mattresses for $10 became an industry that is now worth tens of billions of dollars. The earliest of days. These are the two names that are inextricably linked with the story of Airbnb. The pair met at the Rhode Island School of Design in 2004. After graduating in 2005, Brian moved to Los Angeles, while Joe started working in San Francisco. Brian was an industrialist designer and strategist at 3DID Inc., and Joe was involved in Chronicle Books. In 2007, the pair met again. Both of them weren't as happy with their particular jobs, and it took Joe to convince Brian to move to San Francisco. When in San Francisco, Brian found out that the rent was more than $1,000, and quickly realized that he had to do something about it. And a week later, San Francisco hosted an international design conference. The two of them also discovered that all of the hotels were booked, so some of the participants would find it incredibly difficult to attend the conference. An idea thus sprang up. He could rent out the 3 airbeds that he had. He discussed this idea with Joe, who also showed support, and as a result, they created a website known as airbedandbreakfast.com. Although the possibility of pinning the name of the website as designbreadandbreakfast.com was also discussed, an absence of furniture meant that they had to drop this name and just go for Airbeds and Breakfast, which would later become Airbnb. 3 people from 3 different corners made use of the airbeds offered by Joe and Brian. A guy from Utah, one from India, and a woman from Boston. With the relatively modest success of making $80 in their first effort, they wondered if they could expand this business to providing beds during conferences. To make this idea work, they had to figure out if an engineer could join their team. And in came Nathan Blacharczyk, a Harvard graduate and a computer scientist. They later expanded this idea of providing beds during conferences to making homes anywhere in the world available for booking in much the same way that hotels are. Funding through serials. Like so many startups, they made some minimal amount of profit in the earliest of days. The expenses were rising, and they had to find a way to get some investment to accelerate their growth. And along came the 2008 election. During the election, Joe and Brian decided to sell cereals, and ordinary cereals at that. But there was a catch. The boxes of cereals were printed with caricatures of Barack Obama and John McCain. Using everyday cereals that were branded with the casings of the cartoons of the presidential candidates, they were able to sell them at a rate of $40 per unit. Labeling the cereal boxes as limited editions also helped the cause, as they raised $30,000, which they later used as an investment. Y Combinator, a turning profit for Airbnb. Sometimes $30,000 is not enough to get startups to the visions of the starters. And in a growing competitive market, $30,000 might not be enough, and that was the case with Airbnb. So they went out to Y Combinator, a startup accelerator that helps innovative business ideas grow by providing them the necessary funding. When Brian and Joe expressed their idea to Paul Graham, one of the co-founders of Y Combinator, he found the idea of Airbnb to be terrible. This was because he thought people wouldn't put out their homes as hotels. But when Paul found out that the guys from Airbnb had raised $30,000 for their startup by simply selling cereal, he gave them the benefit of the doubt. He reasoned that anyone who can use the adverts of Obama and McCain to raise tens of thousands of dollars can sell their business ideas to make millions of dollars. And how prescient Paul was. Scaling Airbnb up. Now, it is one thing to have a good business idea, and a completely other to scale it up to a point where thousands of people are looking for their services. And you also have to make people believe that the services you provide are top-notch. In order to rent out houses to travelers, the houses had to be aesthetically pleasing. And if the houses are decent, ordinarily taken photographs may not be able to show that. So Airbnb offered a free photography service to take pictures of houses that were put on their website. This improved the traffic congestion to Airbnb's website and attracted plenty of other customers, which in turn generated more money. With such a rise, more investment rained on Airbnb, and by the end of 2010, millions of dollars worth of investment were beckoning. A few obstacles down the road. No businesses ever came without a few bumps along their journey. One of the ladies who had rented her house through Airbnb found her house in disarray with a lot of valuables stolen. This led to $50,000 worth of insurance for the people who are hosting. They were also able to get over the incident when a house rented through it had been stifled drugs left by the people who stayed there overnight. Later successes. In 2012, Airbnb had over 5 million books and raised more than $100 million. By the end of the next year, they had more than $200 million. In recent years, the revenue generated by Airbnb skyrocketed, and it is currently worth tens of billions of dollars. The idea of Airbnb was not something that everyone would have predicted to make billions of dollars. After all, who would have thought that people would open their doors like hotels do for complete strangers? All in all, despite how crazy of a business idea it might seem, you never know its prospects until one has committed to them. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and leave some comments while you're at it. We'll take a look at other businesses in episodes to come, but for now, you can take a look at the video on your screen.